We are gathered here today to recognize International Opioid Overdose Awareness Day. I think every one of you has been touched one way or another by the opioid crisis and having family members having their lives touched by opioid use, dependence, addiction, non-fatal and fatal overdoses. I can tell you that I'm here today because this issue personally has touched me. I grew up in a household with two brothers, and during the 60s, late 60s, and both of my brothers got involved with drugs very early. This was a working class neighborhood, suburb of Boston, fabulous parents who both worked. And my brother Jeff, who's 12 months younger than me, got involved with drugs at age 12. And his use and abuse evolved until by the time he was 15, he was using IV heroin, I can't even say it, with an IV. And amazingly, he did live through many overdoses and efforts at recovery until age 62. He dragged my younger brother, Ray, into drug use. He had horrific overdoses and really struggled also throughout his life. Because we were so young, this got me really, and I saw how my parents really struggled with how to get help from my two brothers. It really inspired me to get into the business of helping other people. I couldn't help my brothers at that time, but I could contribute in my work as a social worker. So that's what brings me here to Arlington and to DHS. I want to thank you all for being here. We have several special guests this evening. I might not have introduced myself. I'm sorry. I'm Deborah Warren. I'm with the Department of Human Services. I'm the Deputy Director. I'm also the Community Services Board Executive Director. The CSB, as it's known, oversees publicly funded behavioral health, substance use treatment, and developmental disability services. So I would like to recognize some of our special guests here this evening. I'll be introducing County Board Member Olivia Garvey in a second. I want to acknowledge some of the other special guests here this evening. We have Sheriff Beth Arthur right here. Thank you for coming. We really appreciate you. And we also are honored to have representatives from our police department, including Chief Andy Penn. And and Parissa is here, our Commonwealth Attorney. I just see you. Thank you for coming. Really appreciate it. We also have our former CSB chair here. Raise your hand. Jeanette O'Keefe. And we have our new chair of the CSB, Wendy Crawford, sitting right here. And then we also have our county manager, Mark Schwartz. Thank you for taking the time to come this evening. Really appreciate it. So this is a time for us to really come together to acknowledge and remember the loved ones we've lost. And you can see from our board over here the hearts of those individuals that we've lost. You'll hear more about them this evening. We want to acknowledge those who are struggling, those who are working towards recovery. Recovery is absolutely possible. It takes a whole community of support to get there. It also takes services, and that's where DHS and the community have been involved. In the last 5 years, we have taken a number of steps to move forward to better support individuals getting the help that they need so that they can have a more hopeful future. And some of those things that we've done are to integrate our substance use treatment and behavioral health services under the leadership of Suzanne Somerville, who's in the back there. Raise your hand. We started office-based opioid treatment so individuals can come in and get treatment, at the center. We, in the last year, started the Recovery Center, which is our medical withdrawal and 90-day recovery program in partnership with National Capital Recovery and Addiction Centers. We also serve Alexandria residents through that program. We have done an incredible amount of Narcan training, and tonight you will be able to participate in Narcan training right here in this plaza. But just in the last year, we've distributed over 1,600 boxes of Narcan. We have it available for you tonight. But that's a really big deal. Some individuals need 2 or 3 applications of Narcan in order to recover from an overdose. So it's really important. If you or somebody you know might need Narcan, let's have it available. Keep it in the glove compartment of your car, have it at home. Really, really important. We are now really lucky to have a partnership with the libraries. We are now have boxes at the libraries where you can actually get Narcan. It's available freely in the community. So how many people have we trained? 262 people just in the last year, and hopefully all of you tonight. We also have our Arlington Addiction Recovery Initiative, which is a phenomenal group of individuals coming together, including first responders, criminal justice, schools, substance use disorder treatment providers, public and private, healthcare providers, nonprofits. Really everybody is really engaged, lots of volunteers. So that's when you see the blue shirts that say ARI, they are representing that key stakeholder group that has done amazing work over the last 5 years. Some of the other things that we're doing, we have established medication take-back boxes so that, let's say, somebody has an injury and they have oxycodone or any kind of medication, it can be safely disposed of in 4 different sites here in Arlington. Another important thing that we're doing in terms of harm reduction is distributing fentanyl strips. Why is that important? Something like 95% of the opioids in this community are actually fentanyl. And sometimes young people experiment, they take something and it's fentanyl, and just a teeny tiny bit can be fatal. So that's why fentanyl strips can be a really important piece of staying safe. So what we want is we want to prevent our loved ones, our friends, we want to prevent death, because one death is too many, okay? So that's what our efforts are focused on. Unfortunately, with the pandemic, people have not been doing well, and we have seen our fatal and our non-fatal overdoses triple. That is not okay. That's why we're here today. You are here to both gather together and grieve the losses that we've had, but also celebrate that there is action we can take. And so tonight we have lots of resources out here, and we'll be talking more about that. So without further ado, I am going to introduce my friend Libby Garvey, who is an exemplary public servant. She has served this community for a quarter of a century. 15 years on the school board. She was chair like 5 times. She's served on the county board now for the last 10 years. She's been the county board chair at least a couple of times. And she serves as the liaison to the Community Services Board and is a very absolutely devoted to the work that we do in the community. So I really want to thank you, and I'd like you to come up and share your proclamation.
Thank you all and for being here tonight. I'm really honored to be here with families, public health, public safety, employees, volunteers, officials like Sheriff Beth Arthur, who is here, our county board vice chair had hoped to be here, Christian Dorsey. We were all coming together to recognize International Overdose Awareness Day and to remember those we have lost to drug overdose. As we all know, prevention, education, and recognition play a crucial role in saving lives from overdose, and today is part of that effort. We seek to ensure that our entire community understands that everyone deserves to have their health and dignity supported, and that we are all safer when we work to reduce the risks of overdose. Drug overdose can affect anyone directly, and indirectly, it affects all of us. In Arlington, as Deborah went over to impart, there are several programs that provide substance abuse disorder treatment, and we work to ensure access to those programs by everyone, anyone that needs it, regardless of their ability to pay. And as she mentioned also, we've got the naloxone and fentanyl test strips available, and these are just some of the tools and the support that we provide to help create a safer and healthier community. And I urge everyone to stay after the end of our program, and I'm going to get some training in Narcan, learn about volunteer opportunities and about our recovery resources. And now I do have a proclamation to read, which does have a little bit of information in it, and it's not too long, only a few whereases. Whereas, Arlington County does affirm and acknowledge the harm and hardship caused by drug overdose, and whereas, we recognize the purpose of International Overdose Awareness Day as an occasion to remember our loved ones lost to overdose and to end the stigma of drug-related deaths. And whereas, we resolve to play our part in reducing the toll of overdoses in our community, which last year alone claimed the lives of 103,000 overdoses deaths in the United States, 2,600 in the Commonwealth, and 28 here in Arlington County, with countless more friends and family affected forever. And whereas we affirm that the people affected by overdose are our sons and daughters, our mothers and fathers, our brothers and sisters, and deserving of our love, compassion, and support. Now, therefore, Katie Crystal, who is now the chair of the County Board of Arlington, Virginia, proclaims August 31st, 2022 as International Overdose Awareness Day and encourages our residents to acknowledge and remember those we've lost and support those that are in recovery and those that are struggling with addiction. And I want to thank you again all for being here. Thank you especially to our responders and everyone who is committed to preventing overdose. My deep sympathy to all who have suffered the pain of loss from drug overdoses. Thank you. Deborah.
Thank you so much, Libby. All right. So we have a great panel here tonight. At this time, I would like to welcome Diego to come up. He's going to speak about recovery. You got your shirt. All right.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Hello, everyone. My name is Diego, and I'm a recovering addict. I want to thank everyone for their time and for attending today. I also want to thank those at DHS for inviting me to speak today. I also want to thank that same team at DHS for saving my life. September 23rd of this year, I'll have 17 months clean and sober. Thank you. It sounds like a big achievement, and although it is impressive, people don't know about how it took me 6.5 years to get it right. I was in and out of jails, detoxes, and rehabs for the better part of those 6.5 years. This last trip to treatment, though, was different. Something inside of me changed. I was truly tired of letting down my loved ones, but most of all, I was tired of letting myself down. See, the thing is, I had to do this for me. It no longer was about getting the courts off my back. It no longer had anything to do with getting my mother to leave me alone. I had to do this for myself. And although recovery looks a bit different for everyone, one thing remains the same. We all need a little help sometimes. I ended up at a 90-day program here in Arlington. After that, I did intensive outpatient here at Arlington's DHS. Thanks to their team, today I hold 17 months clean. And I want to thank everyone at National Capital Treatment and Recovery, as well as everyone at DHS's office-based opioid treatment program for literally saving me and giving me my life back. Today, I'm a head martial arts instructor at a very successful studio. Martial arts is my passion. I recommend everyone who's trying to get clean to find a purpose, find your passion, and latch onto that. For those addicts who are still struggling, we don't have to live like this anymore. Every person that enters a jail, detox, rehab, and or outpatient setting has a 100% chance of changing their lives for the better if they want it. If they can get honest, be open-minded, and become willing, anything is possible. Treatment works, NA and AA works, and recovery works. We just have to work it. Thank you so much for letting me speak today, guys.
Took my little schedule. Thank you. Thank you, Diego, for those very powerful words. So I think the two words that I really heard were passion and purpose. Good job. It really gives us hope. Our next speaker is Todd Yates. Come up, please. Todd and his lovely wife, Cindy, are here. They are going to share their experience as parents and as a family. You might want this a little.
Good evening. On August 11th, 2020, I received an email from the Arlington County Police Department. It was one of the several hundred I get every day. The email headline stated, "Police warn of a spike in overdose deaths." Specifically, this email talked about deaths linked to prescription painkillers mixed with fentanyl. I never imagined this warning would foreshadow the tragedy that was about to occur. But the very next morning after this email, Colton's lifeless body was found by his mother in his room with a half-eaten McDonald's meal still on his desk. He was 20 years old. The night before was a going-away party for one of our friends who was moving to Florida. But it was also a personal family celebration for us. All the family was together. We were celebrating Colton and his brothers last night in Arlington. The next morning, they were leaving for college. They were going to be roommates and also teammates on the Averett University football team. But that was not to be. Colton was a yes sir, no sir young man. Someone who easily made friends and always was quick to help those in need. He was a gifted two-sport athlete at Wakefield High School. His junior year, he was an all-state baseball player and captain of the baseball team. By his senior year, he was the captain of the varsity football team and was a 3-year starter at the position of quarterback. He was named homecoming king. But his senior year also saw and saw an on-field incident that resulted in a tear in his ACL. That was followed with ACL surgery and a painful recovery. But through it all, he remained positive, and he was certain that he would return to the football field one day. 2 years later, that opportunity came. But, as I said before, it was not to be. The loss of Colton has changed our lives and our family forever. But it's also impacted the lives of his friends, who just this week continue to leave messages on his Instagram account about how he's missed and how he's thought of. We will never have another complete family gathering. We'll also never have another family photo. But he is remembered for who he was and for all he could have been. If I could turn back time, I would do many things different in my life. But above all, I would have shared that press release from the Arlington County Police Department with my boys, my girls, my friends, their friends, and our neighbors. If this could happen to Colton, it could happen to anyone. My wife always said, I only feel safe when everyone is home at night. Colton was at home, and he was not safe. No family really is. Please let this vigil and this annual day of awareness remind us to always share the danger of overdoses. And it's not just overdoses. It can be that single dose. And it's also important to share that everyone should have Narcan available and the training to use it. Thank you for allowing me to share Colton's stories in a hope that others can be saved. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Todd, and we grieve with you, both of you. Yeah. This is Narcan, and it's available at the booth back there. You can take it home with you. Take two. Take as many as you want. We want you to use this. We want you to, as Todd beautifully said, have it available, friends, family, whatever. It's a lifesaver. And it's easy to use. Okay. Next, we will have Daniel Adams. Oh, there's Daniel. Daniel is a peer recovery specialist, hence the t-shirt, Lived Experience Matters. He works for the Chris Atwood Foundation, and he's going to share a little bit with you from his perspective.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for being here today. I'd like to thank Marty and the DHS for allowing me to speak. Most important, the reason why it is important for me is because I was raised here in Arlington since 1961, the last of 12, and I'm coming full circle because my substance use started in the early 70s, between the age of 12 and 13, from unchecked trauma that I did not know how to deal with, except when I learned how to medicate myself. That's how I learned how to deal with life, through a substance. And most important, I tried recovery, Phoenix House. That was my second treatment in '88. Also, too, in '88, I started going to meetings in an apartment building that I live in right now, which is a blessing for me. But most important, the blessing is being able to speak right now, because my addiction lasted 34 years. And now I've been in recovery for 15 years, and now I am able to help people who are just like me. And most important, I'm able to practice harm reduction. And I'm able to hear people say, well, thank you for helping me, because harm reduction not only helps the people who are still practicing, harm reduction helps the community as well. This is important. It's important because people still use, and people are still struggling, and people need compassion, they need acceptance, and people need love. They need it unconditionally. On our harm reduction fan, it says no judgment, just love. And that is most important because people are still struggling. And it's hard because fentanyl. It's hard because I've had a member, she was 40, she passed in overdose in June. And yesterday, I got a phone call from another member. We don't refer to people as clients, we refer to them as members. And this person was telling me that they wanted to commit suicide. It stopped me because this person was only 21, and when Mr. Yates said his son was 20, and it's like, you know, it touched me in a different way. It touched me because when I was struggling in my substance use, there was no help, and help was limited. But when I was talking with this person yesterday, I was trying to talk him from not commit suicide. And I ended up having to call 911, and it just happens to be a blessing that even though the person jumped and tried to commit suicide, it wasn't, they still alive. And when I work with people, I work with the whole person. I walk and I talk with them, and because I take being a certified peer recovery specialist personally. When I met Jenny, who is the founder of the Prince Atwood Foundation, she said, you got a light that needs to be shined, you know, because of my story. It's come full circle. And most important, being able to be a volunteer with Ari, being able to be a volunteer with CSB, that is a blessing that I never thought would ever happen, as well as me standing up here on Courthouse Plaza giving a speech. This is a blessing, and I want to thank y'all for allowing me to share my part and portion. And once again, I want to thank everyone for being here tonight.
Thank you so much, Daniel. I really appreciate your words of hope and recovery. We are really blessed to have Pastor Ashley Goff with us tonight from the Arlington Presbyterian Church. She is going to lead us in our time of remembrance.
They had no time to say anything. Thank you. I love you. Bless you. Not even a goodbye. By the time they had a chance to reach the hospital or care, they were gone. Their lives and a huge part of ours were over. There were funerals, and people said what they needed to say. There were tears and anger and laughter. Their going was not what we would have wanted or imagined. And it happened. We are left with sadness and questions and memories and nights and days. The special task that falls upon us this evening is to create an enduring connection with those who have died from overdose, to lessen the space between the living and the dead, to encourage and facilitate the safe expression of all the natural grief reactions, to bring assurance that stories are heard and known. There's work in remembering those who have died, and there's work for us in relearning a life and a world. The work is not for us to do alone or in isolation. It's together in community. So we create a community around those who have died, foster that enduring connection by bringing forth the names of those who have died into this public space. We create community and remembrance by lighting candles and gazing upon enduring, fragile flames. Marty Mefford and I, Marty is with the Harm Reduction Program, we will read the names of Arlingtonians and Northern Virginians who have died in recent years from overdose. As the names are shared, you are invited to light your candle and then turn and light your neighbor's candle, noticing that the flames aren't diminished in the sharing. The flames keep their fullness. After we read the names of those loved and lost, there will be a time to call out silently within or out loud any names not included on our list. And then after we give witness to all the names, as a way to honor our movement forward, you can move and take your candle to one of the purple bowls on the left, on the right, and there's 2 under the flagpole. And there, your candle and all the candles will extinguish on their own, in their own time, and in a natural process. And then you find your way back to your seat or where you were standing. So Marty and I call out the names, then we light each other's candles, and we move forward and place our candles, and then we regather. So here are the names of those we've loved and lost. Denise Redford, Charlie P., Michael V., Jesse Scallywags, Michael, Chase, Hayden Finch, Troy, Jeff S., and Jean. Dino, Travis Redford, Colton, Jason Schultz, Andrew, Vanessa O'Donnell, Tina Marie Gray, Brenda Lunsford, Logan Webster, Amy Mitchell.
Brianna, Zachary Rose, Carolyn LaRue, Dave, Manny Flowers, Brogan, Doug, Stanley Hall, John Bishop, Charlie, Andy, Tika, Sam, Nikki, Carrie, Mayan, Brian, Nicholas, Donnie, Justin, Christine.
Andy Bradford, Garrett Charters, Isaiah, Daniel, Sharon, Clark Foster, Lauren S., Chris, Aaron, Ashley, Lexi Felton, Joe, Kylie, Roland Curtis, Justin, Romana Mo Shelley, Mahmoud Nasser, Bratila, Wade Mitchell Jr.,
George Ward, Sabrina Jennings, Rebecca, Tammy Turner, Rihanna Pursley, Justine, David, Jeffrey.
Nick Paulette, Rodney, Lauren, Dave, Rihanna, Hazel, Chili Willie, Allison, Joe, Ethan Beck, John Bishop, Cynthia Nelson, Moses, Gutierrez, Anna Marie, Alex Ventura, Adele and Bonnie, Mumbo Scales, Bruzy Brew, Ray Mo, KK and KB, Blanco, Bernie, John David, Nat, and Earl. For those names not listed, not called out, you are welcome to call those names out now or name those silently within. So as we regather, take a breath and take another breath. And then take a third breath. Trust the names and stories of those we've loved are known. Their names and stories are among us, commended and released into this community. May it always be so.